So I'll oftentimes point to a culture assessment for assessing that current state. A culture assessment is a really great tool, but oftentimes people want to do the assessment on their TA strategy or their recruiting process. And I'm like, I tricked you because that's laced into it. But, culture is something you should assess early, often, and always for me.
I'd like to ask you one more question, if that's okay.
For sure.
And it's going to seem like a dumb question, but it takes all kinds of people to make a company successful. You can't have everybody all the same, right?
Right.
It takes a lot of different types of people. So then I wonder, is being a team player kind of overrated? Because we have, for example, people who are on the spectrum are not naturally team
Right.
players, but they
Right.
have a lot to offer. And they often get pushed out of the recruitment process because they don't fit in the box.
Right.
But
Right.
so is the question is being a player overrated, or is it really, really, really important in the growth of a company? I know it's got its place, but does
Right.
everybody need to be a team player?
Yeah, this will light up a whole different part of the Christmas tree in my brain, right? Because it's about the DEI initiatives. It's about
Yes,
how
well,
we
that's a whole
show
other
up
thing.
in the
Yeah,
market to attract the right talent. It's not
yeah,
how, we check a box and we hired this many of this type of people. It's about finding the right talent and knowing that that talent, the diversity in and of itself, is going to enhance the collective fabric of your organization, if you will. They're going to look at things from a different perspective than you will. But this started for me early on. I've just, again, always had that naturally inquisitive mind. But when I remember working with some of the ERGs in corporate, and I kind of became this talent acquisition liaison to all of these diversity groups. And I said, what is the biggest pain point for you? And there was a disabilities employment resource group that said, people don't know how to hire for people on the spectrum.
yeah.
And so I did an unconscious bias training. That's where I started. That was my nascent stage, diversity brain, right? And then I went further and I got into markets with, Chicago House and different LGBT organizations. And I worked with, a trans work seminar that addressed the needs for that specific community. And they said, how can we find companies that are here to support us? I'm like, well, that's not all their responsibility. Part of it's yours. Let's look at what that looks like. So to your question of, is it a bad thing for everyone to be a team player? Or, are you kind of selling yourself short by just saying, yeah, I can work with anybody, everybody? I think that it's about knowing what your skills are, and knowing where you fit. I'm not for everybody. I'm not for everybody's team.